Jesse McKinney, United States Navy, World War II. Jesse is one of my Iwo Jima veterans. He supported the 5th Marine Division. He was with the Seabees in the construction battalion during the war at Iwo Jima, the Battle of Iwo Jima. This was 1945, folks, for you history buffs out there. And Jesse went into the military, and he served his country well. Has a great perspective of what happened on Iwo. He was an ammo bearer, and he was with the he was a second-class seaman as an ammo bearer with the Seabee. So I love these stories from the Seabees because we don't hear a lot of them. And he's African American, and they were at Iwo Jima, and just a wonderful, wonderful perspective of war combat at Iwo. And I have two films on the Battle of Iwo Jima in my documentary series, Lest They Be Forgotten. I want to thank Chet Howard. Chet, thank you, sir, for sponsoring this story, reaching out and allowing others to hear about Jesse's story during World War II. What a blessing you are. I thank you for your patriotism to our country and for your support of my work. I don't take it lightly. Thank you, sir. Okay, folks, if you'd like to sponsor a story, there's information in the video description on my website. If you'd like to make a donation to help this work keep going and help my radio station to keep going. Voices of History Radio is going strong, folks, around the world. Amazing. I thank God for it. Amen. And I thank you for subscribing to this channel, for sharing these videos, and for getting these stories out there. History is best learned from those who were there. Freedom is not free, folks. Freedom is earned, and we're fighting for the same freedoms today in our own country that our veterans fought for on foreign soil. So we need to get these stories out there, lest they be forgotten. If we don't remember, we're going to forget. We have a charge. We have our orders, our marching orders to go forth and take this message to our younger generation who know nothing about why we're free today in the world that we live in. So I thank God for these stories and for you watching and listening and subscribing. Have a good day. Thank you for watching Jesse's story. Comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I start looking at my camera during the interview, don't let that throw you, okay? Sometimes I got to make sure you're still there. But just tell me, Jesse, the Navy Seabees.
I was with the Navy Seabees,
okay.
Right.
What was your job? What was your title or your rank?
My rank was Seaman Second. I was guard, ammunition dump on Iwo. Right.
Spell your last name for me, please.
McKinney.
It's Jesse? Jesse?
Jesse.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if you've talked much about your experiences in World War II, but I want you to kind of, in your mind, just to go back before. Now, when did you go into Iwo Jima? What was it, on D-Day itself, or?
Yeah, well, we started in there on D-Day, but we had to turn around because it was killing all the American Marines. They couldn't get no further than the beachhead, so they held us out another day before they let us go in behind the 5th Marine Division, right?
Okay, tell me what you can remember about maybe the day before or the night before you actually went into Iwo Jima, and what you knew about what was ahead and how you were feeling, and where you were. Were you on a transport, a LST? What were you doing?
Well, we was on a transport, but we was transferred to LSD. Okay. Just before we got on there, they give us some type of a shot or something. Anyhow, it made you wasn't nervous or nothing. You like you was just ready to go, you know. But they said we weren't allowed to put our clip in our carabine until we got on the beachhead. Mm-hmm.
Just kind of in your mind now, again, I wasn't there, so just, you know, what were you feeling? What was the mood of everybody as you're going in? Did you go in on one of those LVTs? What did you go in on to the beach? How did you get to the beach?
We got on the landing barge, you know, that thing that opens up and all the guys fall in there. Well, everybody was calm. They had been kidding, but it down the business, it was a different story, because some of them say, I used to kid, I don't kid no more, I don't curse no more, I don't find God, and hey, a lot of them changed at the time of hitting the beachhead.
So were you scared yourself going in? Did you think you were going to die? I mean, how were you feeling?
Well, I was afraid, right? Because landing on there on the beachhead, there's just a lot of dead Marines on it. It's like blood all at the beachhead, it was show, and we was just about stepping over some of them as we got up on the beach.
Okay, now so you were about 19 years old, 18 years old then?
I went there, it was going on about 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you know about Iwo Jima? I mean, was it just another island, or what? I mean, what had they told you, or what did you think you were gonna get into? Because supposedly the Navy and they were bombing that for 72 days. Did you think it was just going to be an easy operation, or what were you?
Yeah, we thought because the Navy it shelled and bombed, and we thought it was going to be easy. But after you find out, they had those something called like pill boxes. The Japanese was in those, which was under the ground, and 3 or 4 Marines had flamethrowers. So maybe one of them could get up there and burn them up. They threw that flamethrower in there, and you could hear them yelling. But that's the only way they could get them out of there, because they had bombed the shell, but it wasn't doing nothing, taking no effect on it.
What do you remember about the actual landing when you came in? I mean, were they firing at you? You said you saw a lot of casualties. I mean, what do you remember about all that when you first came onto the beach?
I remember they were still shelling, and you could hear gunshots, and some guys was wounded, was, hollering about mama. They called him mama. I never hear him say dad, I always said mama, and it was just, everybody had to take cover, and we just laid down on the, Iwo Jima was just like dirt, sand. We just laid there until the government was ordered to move up. Mm-hmm.
What do you remember about the actual landing? You said that the ramp went down to that landing craft. You guys piled out, and were there a lot of Marines still on the beach there that were trying to get up farther on land? Or?
Yeah, so we was following the Marines up. Those, well, I can say a lot of them was dead, but we was following the rest of them up there behind. We went in behind them. And
were they shooting at you guys then, or was there artillery going off?
Artillery was going on, right? And we just kept moving in,
Well, had you been in combat before? You said Okinawa, or you've been in other areas?
I was in Okinawa, but they had already invaded Okinawa. But I never was in no combat. I never went on the front line before.
Do you need to get that? I mean, were you trained well enough to encounter that situation? I mean, when you see dead bodies, doesn't that have an effect on a young mind, or were you like,
yeah?
How do you train, or how are you prepared for something like that?
I wasn't really prepared, because I wasn't looking for anything like that. The only thing I know, it was I was in the Navy 2 years. I was overseas 18 months. We took our training there at Pearl Harbor. That's where we went in training, and they just asked for pack your bag in seagoing fashion, and they give you a little, your ammunition, and we was dressed up like you thought I was Marine, because we had on Marine fatigues at that time, and then we just went in from there. Not a whole lot of training now. And when we got there, I didn't know I was supposed to be a guard and ammunition dump. And the guard and ammunition dump there, some part of it exploded one night. A lot of scrap was coming out. We had to duck for cover. And went on from there, and the next day, they had to pick up the body parts of the Americans and put them in the piles, and that's something I'll never forget. Yeah. You know, as a young man, I never seen nothing like this. You know. I never thought I'd get back home at all.
Has that bothered you over the years, or did you just forget all that when you came back home?
It'll leave you for a while, but it come back. You'll think of it sometime.
So that was a detail that you were assigned there. You weren't prepared for that. I mean,
No, I wasn't prepared for that.
How do you mentally prepare, or how do you mentally get through something like that? Did you have faith in God? I mean,
Yeah, well, that's right. I was raised up in the church, and I think that helped me. That carried me on, because without him, I never would have made it back. I didn't ever think I would get back here, really.
Were any of your friends or your buddies coming out of that boat killed, or during that assault, were they injured or killed?
Oh, yeah. Someone got killed. Matter of fact, you know, setting up tents on Iwo Jima, it takes two. Just take, would you put it in another room there. You had, you know, they give us a tent, and it take two. Buddy had one part, I had one part. You put it together, and that's when you dig your foxhole and you sleep in at night. Well, then getting the rain, the water can be on. You never got wet in the service. They say you lay around there all night in the wet clothes, and you wake up the next morning, they dry on you, you know. And then you get up, and they had that C ration, K ration, and you eat some of that and just keep whatever detail they give you to do. Or sometimes they change you, have you doing different things. I was guarding the pill box, ammunition dump, and then they took a picture of me. I wish I could find that picture. Standing up there as a guard. But then the next day, we had to go up there by Mount Sabachi at night. We had to drive with a weapon carrier without lights on to get up there to go back to guard the dump, because they had snipers still up in there shooting at us.
From a historical standpoint, looking back, why do you think Iwo Jima was an important island to have to take from the Japanese in World War II? What had they told you? What have you learned since about that invasion, and why we had to do that?
Well, they say it was kind of close to Japan, and they had that landing strip there, which was a small island, I think 9 miles long, 4.5 miles wide, or 3.5 miles or something. But they wanted that strip so they could land those B-29s there to refuel.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I heard that before we had decided to take that island, a lot of the B-29s flying towards Japan were shot down.
Yeah. Well,
and there was just, we had to have that island. I mean, like you said, as that airfield for the B-29s to do the bombing raids. But you know, that was a lot of loss of life. Over 7,000 Marines were killed.
On a small island.
25,000 were injured out of 120,000. That's
right.
like a quarter. That's a lot of bloodshed for that little piece of land.
That's right.
They said that looks like a burnt pork chop. The shape of that island.
It did, right.
And the volcanic ash. Was it hard walking in on that?
It was hard. It's just solid sand. Yeah. And then B-29s, like I said, we had a few of them was shot down right on the island. But what happened, I don't know who stripped them, but when we got, they stripped a lot of parts off it, you know. But it was just where the Marines, they ran out of men's there. That's when every able man that had a rifle was supposed to fight. Because they had to send back to Saipan, I think, and bring back some more Marines, because those was there, it got blown away, you know. And wasn't too many Seabees there to do the job. Most of the guys in my outfit was either guard or building bridges and overpass or whatever they can do.
Just going back a little bit again, you went in during the morning, afternoon, evening to the beach. Do you remember what the time of day when you went in?
No, it was in the morning.
Okay. So was there like a night before whether you're anticipating going in and you were like, again, you were in your own thoughts or just thinking about what's going to happen the next day? And I mean, or did it just seem like another operation? Maybe you didn't realize what you're really getting into.
I didn't realize it would be like it were. I thought it was just to be something they already done took the island. We just go in there and help clean up. That's what I was thinking. But when I look around, it was as this captain say of the Marines, every man for himself and God for us all. And so that means, hey, trust in God that you come back alive. But I felt sorry for a lot of the younger guys that didn't come back, and mourning and hollering and I could say, you look, they want you to go out there and I guess I might have said this before, pick up the body parts. That got to me. That's something that stayed with me from now on.
Mm-hmm. When did you realize that it was more than just a cleanup operation? I mean, when did it dawn on you the reality of the situation and you knew that this was a very serious thing going on? I mean, did it take the bullets flying over your head to realize that, or did you just see the casualties and realize that this is going to be a little bit more?
Yeah, I woke up when during the daytime, the Marines, they had those sandbags and had those M1s there guarding us at night, in the day as well as night. And the Japanese come through there and suicide thing, he just started throwing hand grenades and everybody had to run for cover, but they got him, but some people that got hurt behind that, they got killed. But I didn't ever realize that I would be what it was really fighting at. I thought if I was going over there, I would be in the back part, just the cleanup spot, like I said, as everything else is taking place up front. But I ended up there once to ask me to drive a Jeep up there, and I took it up there. I didn't know I was going that far up in the front line, and good night. I seen what was happening there. I said, I ain't ready for that. My little carbine wasn't like them M1s they had, So after I dropped it off, it took me on back where I was supposed to be.
Did you have to fire your weapon at all on the beach, or?
Oh yeah. I was shooting at something. I don't know if it was dark. I don't know what I was shooting at, really. I just we heard fire, we just started shooting.
Because they were pretty dug into that beach, that island. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, they shelled it, but they would do no damage.
Did you go up Mount Suribachi? Did you have to go up that mountain or not?
No, I went so far, and we just nosy, looking around. We come back down.
Did you see the flag raising?
No. Well, I looked around, the flag was up there. I didn't see a flag raising.
What else do you remember about the combat? I mean, you're 19 years old, you're in combat. I mean, what else comes to your mind regarding the combat during that battle? I mean, what are you thinking about? Did you go, how long were you on the island?
We was on there, over 30 days. Yeah, right, because we was headed, if they were in World War II, we was headed for Japan. That's what the orders we had got. We was going to Japan from there. But what I was thinking about, one invasion was enough. I wanted to get out of there, But it's just the thing that you'll never forget. You still hear that. Sometimes you hear the screaming and the guys hollering. A lot of them want to go home, holler for mom. But I can understand they never called for dad. Always mom.
You know, that's an interesting thought. I'm reading a book about the battle on the way over yesterday on the plane,
Yeah.
and they said that it doesn't matter if they were German, if they were English, or if they're American. They holler for their mothers when they're dying.
Yep, they do. Right.
That's an amazing thing.
Right.
I don't know why, the psychology of that, but that's an incredible thing that they've all said that in war. That's what happens.
I don't know why
You
you
heard
but
some of that,
I
huh?
heard that. Right. Yeah.
Were you able to help anybody? Could you help anybody, or did you just let the medics do all that?
No, the medics. I couldn't. I couldn't help. No, medics did most of that. I know. I had one guy. He asked me, could I see that his family get his pictures? He had his pictures, his wife and children's, you know, and he handed them to me. But all my we had a sea bag with all our stuff in it, and somehow it got lost. Well, I was bringing back quite a few souvenirs, and I didn't see them no more.
What other memories do you have of Iwo Jima, just in general? Is there memories, something that you can remember that you want to tell me about being there those many days, or anything else that happened? I mean, what do you remember about anything else about that battle?
What I remember about being treated over there, it's pretty bad. I mean, you just, the other people looked like was doing better than the enlisted man at the time I was over there. I mean, we didn't have after the victory, we didn't have the celebration, the party, like some people I know, they had truckloads of beer, cigarettes, cigars, and all that. Well, we got some beer and stuff after, but well, at the time I was there, they wouldn't even let me drink no strong alcohol, because I said I wasn't old enough. That hurt me too, because all my buddies that was older than me, they could drink, and I couldn't even get a taste of it, because they said I was too young. We had a good service. We had some guy like you think they was a preacher. They turned to be a preacher, and we had prayer meeting and all that. I think that helps a lot too, you know.
Did you have any type of church service before you went into Iwo Jima?
Yeah.
Can you remember going to that? What was said? Do you remember what was said, or?
I don't know. They had a chaplain that prayed for us and everything, and was telling us to just believe in what you're doing and believe in God, and you see you through, but just say, take care of yourself. And say God was for us all, you know, and left it at that.
How about on the beach? Did you remember any of the medics or any of the priests or chaplains or rabbis, anybody talking, helping the guys that were hurt? Do you remember seeing anything like that, or?
I seen some of them give them the last right, yeah. And they just couldn't. It was so many dying, they couldn't keep up with them, you know. And the only thing I say, you know, the dead was laying up there so long, their stomach began to swell way up, like they about to bust. They had them covered, but they couldn't bury them right then, you know. They're trying to give them a decent burial, right?
Do you know if they actually buried them on the beach or they evacuated them all out? What did they do? I mean, that's a small area.
Well, they buried, now what was told to me, they took bulldozers and dug big trench holes, and they pushed the bodies in there. And I used to think sometimes just that one cross was just one person, but it'd be a whole lot of bodies up under there, you know, buried.
So they had wood crosses on the beach too?
Mm-hmm. It temporary crosses there.
You know, looking back now, Jesse, 60 years ago, I mean, as an American, I mean, what does freedom mean to you?
What does freedom mean to me? It mean a whole lot, but I'll tell you what, I think any veterans that went overseas and came back alive should nothing be too good for them to have. But I seen after I come back here was the worst part. I thought I was on Iwo Jima, the way I was treated after I got back here, right here in Cincinnati. Yeah.
Do you think people take freedom for granted? I mean, you've seen the price for freedom. I mean, tell me about the price for freedom in society today. Do you think we take our freedoms for granted?
I think we do. Some people don't realize, what the people went through overseas, and I don't think if it ever. I hope, for God forbid, never happened here. But if they got a taste of what we got, I think it'll be a different world. Well, these people here, a lot of them don't even realize it's like they fighting the war now. They don't realize the dangers of what's going on over there.
Well, I've had the opportunity to speak to kids in schools.
Just pull it.
Well, you're a popular guy. That might be the president calling. I told him I'd be here today, so he may be wanting to talk to you. But I get to talk to kids every once in a while in schools about World War II, about the price for freedom, and I think they need to know the sacrifices that have been made really to appreciate the freedoms that we have these days. And if you could talk to young kids today, based on what you've gone through in World War II, what would you tell a young person today about freedom, or about what the price for freedom? What would you tell kids today, Jesse?
I would tell them to be respectable, go and try to get an education, and all give God all the thanks that they can to make it in this world today, because it's not an easy thing now living at this time of age, But when they opened up this, I was in Washington for this
World War II memorial.
memorial.
I was there too.
I'd never been treated so nicely. I was on this little subway train. I was staying in Maryland, and going up there, and I walk with a cane sometime. All depends. I got this leg injured in service, and I seen a lady get up and say, "I have my seat," and then a lot of them was shaking hands, just thanking you for what you did during the war. I mean, it was really something. You say you was there, right?
There.
Yeah. I was treated real. I enjoyed that. Right. I took an Amtrak from here to Washington just for that.
Is that right? So you felt special there.
I felt special. Like everybody was caring, and they was praising us that the job we did.
How'd that make you feel?
I feel good. I feel good. Respected.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a hero?
No. No.
What do you think about, thinking back 60 years ago, that's a long time ago, number one, but it's like you have a lot of pride in what you did. Would you do it again?
I did, because I got a letter over there from, President Truman was the president then, and he sent us a nice, and Falstaff, he was over the Secretary of the Navy, they all sent there, even much Clinton, since he was in there, got a letter from him. I feel that we weren't forgotten. Yeah, that we did something right.
Do you think war is different today than it was in World War II?
I think so. Yeah. These people fighting in the streets and in the houses and all that, it's a whole lot different than being out there in the open.
Do you stay in touch with any of your old war buddies or not?
No. I don't think they're all gone.
Are you part of an American Legion or Veterans of Foreign War group?
DAV, VFW, right.
You're an active member?
Active, paid up life member. I don't go to too many meetings now. Yeah, paid up life member. Chapter 115.
Here in Cincinnati?
Yeah, out there on Coleraine. Hamilton.
Are there a lot of World War II vets that still go there?
Oh yeah, right. World War II, yeah, right. Ain't too many World War One, I don't think.
Tell me again, you were in the Navy Seabees. Tell me your unit, your group again. What was the name of it?
I was in the 23rd Seabee Battalion.
Okay, 23rd Seabee Battalion. Okay.
Attached to the 5th Marine Division.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts that you might have about Iwo Jima? What kind of intrigues me is just the preparation for that operation. Do you remember when you were told that you were going to go to Iwo Jima, or where were you at when you found out you were going to go to Iwo Jima?
We were when I found out we was going to Iwo Jima, I think we was crossing the equator, and they said something about Iwo Jima. I never heard of Iwo Jima, and they was telling us that's where we was going, you know, and. It looked like it took forever to get there, but we were on a ship, a troop ship. Ran out of food out there in the ocean. Let's see, some marine or something coming on there late at night and caught up with us some kind of way and got us some more supplies. Yeah.
Were you guys dressed in battle fatigues like the Marines when you went in, the whole bit? So you probably looked just like them, right, when you went in?
Yeah, you wouldn't know me whether I was in the Navy or not. You thought I was Marine, but that's why we was dressed, right?
Did the Marines treat you guys good?
Oh, yeah. Oh, real good. Yeah, we was something like a backup.
Did you have officers on that landing craft going in that day, or was there somebody in charge of that particular landing craft that you were on?
That's right. We had officers, right? Huh?
Was it like one of those amphibious tractors that went in? Is that what you were going in on?
No, we went on the LST. It just hit the beachhead and fold down, and you. Now, later on, we had those amphibious ducks that we used to go out to the ship and get things and come back with them. You know. But other than that, when we was on this LST coming in, some guys just thought they had that Rising Sun airplane that the Japanese had, and some guys just jumped off, just jumped in the water. Thought they was going, they were going to shoot us before we got there. Some of them panicked.
Did you ever see any of the Japanese on that island, or they were all pretty hidden, weren't they?
Well, I guarded some for a while. Yeah, we had some was captured, and we held them for 4 or 5 hours till they took them away somewhere. But the snipers was the worst thing we had to worry about after the war. The snipers, I think, was almost worse than the invasion. Well, you could never see where they were. You know, they were always hiding. Yeah, so.
Why do you think you survived?
I was left here for something. I guess God wasn't ready for me. I'm here to help, I guess, to help raise my grandkids.
What kind of work did you do after the war?
Well, I did worked at the post office and did private police work.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Around here?
Around here, right.
So you grew up around here then?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had worked 2 jobs, one uniform to another.
Well, I'm going to shut off my camera, okay?
All right.
I think you did pretty darn good.
I can't remember half of what I said. No, I did.
I think you did a good job. Yeah. You said what I wanted you to say. Well, what I was hoping that you would share. And like I said, when this is all done,